Sports Show. Time to talk about the Simpson Cup, and it was a ripping weekend of golf. Gary Thompson joins us. Gary, how are you?
Very well, thanks, Phil.
It was a good weekend. 2 close games, mate. 2 not so much, but your team, Glenelg, mate, up and about.
Well, we fell in the end. I mean, we appeared to be cruising, and then it all sort of went awry around the 14th, 15th, 16th. But 3 of our guys came down the 18th, and 2 of them won the last to sort of get us over 4-3. So they held their nerve. It was a great effort.
It would have been catastrophic for Glenelg had they lost that game on the weekend. That puts you Norton 3, and gee whiz, a tough fight from there, isn't it? Really. That would have been a big relief for you.
It was all but season over. So now at least we're back in the fight, and 3 teams. I'd say Kooyonga, Royal Adelaide, and the Vines appear to be safe. I mean, there's still 4 games to go, so it could change. But then there's 3 teams that are sort of fighting for 4th: Grange, Tea Tree Gully. Don't underestimate Tea Tree Gully. They put up a really good fight last week, and this is their first year back in Simpson Cup for a number of years, and they've got a pretty good squad together. So,
and they play Kooyonga this week.
They've got Kooyonga, and it'll be a tricky game. I mean, it looked like Kooyonga won easily last weekend, but they won 6-1. But 5 of their matches went to the 17th and 18th.
Wow.
So, I mean, it was much, much closer than the scores indicated. And Royal Adelaide and Grange were the same. They had 5 games go down over the last 2 holes. So it's really competitive. You just need a bit of luck and get the results go your way.
It's an interesting one, Gary, because this weekend is heavy rain predicted the next 3 or 4 days, so it might be mate, buggies away and bring your inflatable rowing boats to get around the course. But in saying that, the conditions on the weekend were probably weather-wise appeared pretty good, but blustery. So they're playing against everything at the moment, aren't you?
Well, yeah, Sunday was perfect. I mean,
it was a great
probably
day.
Even better for us. We started at 7:30 in the morning, so there wasn't any wind at all.
Early,
it was just a zephyr when they were finishing. Blew up a little bit in the afternoon, but the course was just pure, and the guys had no excuses.
Will Victor Harbour this weekend be able to handle the rain? Some courses it's not so bad, others it's heavy.
I've never played down there in these sort of predicted conditions. It could be tricky. I mean, with the wind and the rain, I mean, who knows if like they're talking 30 mil and
very high winds.
Gale force winds, they might even call it off if it gets that bad. Because we're due to tee off at 12:10. We'll be in the dark at the finish.
As a wing,
because it's going to be dark. If the conditions are what they predict, it's going to be sort of dark by 5 o'clock.
That's right.
We might be playing with the torches.
The thing with the courses, Phil, is when it is your turn to host. The courses are mint. Absolutely. Glenelg on the weekend.
They go out of their way. No question.
Exactly. It was like a carpet. It was just absolutely beautiful.
It's your chance to showcase, and all clubs do it really well. So
are there some clubs that play better in other conditions? If you break it down into the SANFL or the AFL OSI, they're a good wet weather team. Does it apply to golf?
It certainly does.
Preparation.
I mean, the more skilled you are, the better you're going to play in.
Let me rephrase. Would you change your personnel? Could you, you're looking at the game, would you change your personnel depending on the weather?
No.
Well, I don't think we have the depth to do that. But you'll get the better players that can play, the low ball and do things into the wind that some guys can't do.
That's a fact. That's exactly what will happen on the weekend. It's all about preparation. You've got to have the wet weather gear, the wet gloves, the wet weather gloves. Everything's got to be spot on. Because if you get your ammunition wet, you get your clubs wet, you get your grips wet, you're gone. You're history. You'll get slaughtered. So your caddy is so important in these conditions.
You desperately need a caddy in these conditions, because their job then is to just keep everything dry that they have to play with. But it becomes a really big mental game when it's like that. It's easy to spit it at golf at any time, but you just need so much more patience in those conditions to just.
But I know we talk about the weather. We're talking about it right now. Before you came on air, we're talking about some of the players that you've lost just recently. Up to Northern Territory and stuff. Do they need to look at a reschedule for the Simpson?
Well, we've been asking for it for a number of years because New South Wales, Victoria, Queensland have all finished their pennant season, and then they start taking the better players overseas. So we already lost Jack Buchanan.
Yes.
This Northern Territory Amateur has been a bit of a bugbear for all sides. You know, Kooyonga, Grange, Glenelg have lost players to it over the last few years. Look, I don't blame guys for going up there and having a go, but it's a really... It's not a high-ranking event. No. So we would prefer they commit to pennant golf. But you know, like, I think, you know, Charlie's probably going up there.
I don't think Charlie's going there. I think Charlie's actually somewhere else.
Okay.
Charlie Nobbs from the Vines. He's a young... didn't play number one on the weekend. I thought it was an error, but he played number one round one.
The week before, yeah.
They put him down at number two.
He's also a young man that's played an awful lot of golf with the Junior Interstate Series, the Senior Interstate Series.
Yes, he has.
I mean, even Jack said before he went overseas, he just needed a rest.
Yeah, needed a spell.
He's been playing in so much. They're only young lads and they do get burnt out.
All right. But very quickly, mate. Southern v RA, if it all happens?
Oh, RA will win.
You think RA?
Yeah. They're playing really well, and they pinched Olsen from Glenelg, and they've brought two ex-interstate players back into their lineup. Yeah. They're good. They're a good side.
A good side, yeah. Kooyonga, Teatree Gully?
Well, a really tough game. I mean, you'd predict Kooyonga because they're the favourite to win. Well, in my eyes, they're the favourite to win it. Defending champions. Yeah. But, you know, Teatree Gully are a better side than we all gave them credit.
Vines Grange? There's a big one. That's an important game.
Yeah, well, there you go. It's a toss of a coin. Toss of a coin. I'd lean towards the Vines, but absolute toss of a coin.
And Glenelg, Flagstaff Hill. They're disappointing, Flagstaff Hill. I think they're just a little bit off the the pace.
Without our 1, 2, 3, you know, like, well, I mean, you finish with a 1, 2, 3 because you push everyone up. But fingers crossed. You know, I think we can still win. I hope we can win.
Oh, mate, always appreciate coming in, mate. Hopefully we'll see you next week without the raincoat and the gloves and everything else, mate. But it's a good weekend. Hopefully the rain will hold off down there at Victor. Stay with us. Still a bit more to come.